Number one of my class.
Good afternoon, good evening, YouTube. Cuts by Dre, New Styles Mobile Barber, and I'm back in the lab for another tutorial episode. Today we're going to be going over the STYLECRAFT Sabers. We're going to check these clippers out. I just purchased them, had them for about a week. I don't know if you've seen my review on the flexes. I did that a few weeks back. Make sure you check out that video. Make sure you check out that review. In my personal opinion, I thought that these were the best, sharpest cutting edges on the market and possibly the best of all time. That was my review on those. Watching YouTube, a lot of other barbers on there. I checked out one YouTuber and he said that the Saber was his all-time favorite, that he actually rated the Saber better than the Flex. So I said, hey, let me see, let me check that out. You know, I'm always trying to get the best. I'm always trying to be better at my craft and get the best tools that I can get. So I wanted to see, you know, I wanted to check out that Saber. So I went out and purchased a pair from the Barber Plug VA. I'll leave that link down below. And I had them for about a week now. I had them for about a week. I had the Flexes now for probably about 3 weeks, I would say. And right off the top, my honest professional opinion, the Flexes are definitely a much sharper cutter than the Saber. Much more detail, much crispier, much more defined clipper, in my personal opinion. Now, it might depend on what type of hair texture you're cutting. That might make a difference in which blade cuts the sharpest to you. You know, I cut primarily coarse African-American hair, and I believe, you know, I do cut all grades of hair, don't get me wrong. And I still say that this Flex here is the sharpest clipper, no matter what grade hair you cut. But sometimes you might not want it as sharp as you would if you were cutting different grades of hair. My personal opinion, definitely get the Flex. The Flex is $150. The Saber is $180. So you're talking about a $30 price difference. Now, there is a difference though. The Saber is an all metal case. And if you checked out my last video on the Flex, I was not satisfied with the housing. I was not satisfied with the construction of the Flex. I thought the case was a little cheap, plastic. They do come with other colors, you know, in here. You know, they come with a black, a blue, and a pink. But you know, even with the additional housing, I thought the housing was kind of cheap, kind of plastic, and I prefer a metal case. So that's why I actually went out and got the Sabers, because, you know, if they were going to be a better clipper with a metal case, then that's definitely the way I want to go. Now, I do like the way these feel. They do feel like you got something in your hand. They feel like they're more quality. I like the fact that the button is recessed. It doesn't stick out. On the Flex, the button is kind of raised a little bit, so you can accidentally hit that button and cut it on and off while you're operating. At least that's happened to me. The button on the Saber is kind of recessed. It's not sticking out. You actually have to press it in, you know, for it to come on. It is quiet. If you hear that, noticeably smoother, noticeably more quiet. You turn on the Flex, a lot louder clipper, a lot louder clipper. So I was wondering, how come this Flex, you know, cut a lot sharper than the Saber? Was it the motor? So looking at the box, both of them have 7,500 RPM. So the motor torque was the same. I looked at the blade under a magnifying glass, and I also noticed that the blade, the cutting blade on the bottom, the black blade, they were also the same. I couldn't tell why they cut different. Now the Saber is fatter in the back. The Flex is a little thinner in the back, but that should determine the cut of the front blade. The actual front blades are pretty much exactly the same size. As you can see, they're the same size, and the cutting blade is the same size. So I was wondering, how come they cut different? So I interchanged the blade. I took the blade off the Flex and I put it on the Saber, and vice versa. to see if they would cut the same. And I was surprised to find out that when I put this blade here, when I took this flex blade off and put it on the Saber, it cut just as sharp as it did when it was on the flex. Yet the clippers remained quiet. I was impressed with that. I also took this blade off and put it on the flex because they are interchangeable. You can't interchange the blades. And when I put this Saber blade on the flex, it was a rougher cut. It was not cutting as smooth as the flex blade. So that left me with the conclusion that the blades are definitely different. That bottom blade, that cutting blade, even though you can't see it through a magnifying glass with the naked eye, they must did some improvements on that bottom blade. And I'm not sure what improvements they are. They are slightly different name. One of them is called the Gold Titanium X Pro. That's the Saber. And on the flex, the blade is called the X Pro Classic Gold Titanium. So I'm not sure if that Classic was an upgrade. This particular clipper did come out after this one. So maybe they took the time to fine tune the blade. So with that in mind, my conclusion was, hey, these flexes are definitely the way to go. They're a cheaper clipper, definitely the way to go. Now, I like the metal housing. So what I did, I went on STYLECRAFT's website and I actually ordered a flex blade to go on here. So once it comes in, I'm gonna take this blade off and put the flex blade on there. And due to me already interchanging the blades and seeing how they cut, I'm already confident that it's going to give me the exact same cut as that one. But the clipper is going to feel a lot better in my hand. It's also metal. I can drop it if perhaps I did and don't have to worry about it cracking. So that's my overall conclusion. If you look at the top, I give you a quick sample. You shoot up here, look at the top of the page here, my video. I'm showing you how the actual Saber cuts, you know, right here. And I'm also going to show you here up at the top how the flex is cutting. So, you know, you can't really tell by looking at the video as much. You know, the video doesn't give you the in-depth, but if you look real closely, this flex blade is actually leaving kind of like a little ash line when you shape them up. It's so sharp, it's kind of giving that little ash line like you put a pencil on it already. That's how sharp and fine this is. And it's actually excellent for doing designs, doing detail work, all that type of work. Now this particular Saber blade, you can see at the top, it's a little bit rougher. It still gives you a nice shape up, but nowhere near as sharp as the flex. So I use this a lot for just cutting underneath the neck, or if I'm balling out a customer, I use it when I'm balling them out. So, I mean, that's pretty much my review on these two clippers, man. I definitely recommend you go out there and cop the flex. If you like the Saber, go get the Saber, but put a flex blade on it. And hey, that's my review, man. So they're both excellent clippers. They're both new from STYLECRAFT. Thanks for checking me out. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a like. If you like what you see, like what you're doing, I'm new to YouTube. So once again, I want to thank y'all for checking out Cuts by Dre, New Styles Mobile Barber.